White Claw, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright guys, we're getting down to some recently released some big news, and it wasn't necessarily anything too complicated. It's just the titles of the next upcoming episode, specifically episode 185 to 188. Now it's going to follow the similar principles to the episodes that we are seeing now. The title of the episodes are going to mimic the title of the chapters that they are going to be adapting from the Boruto manga. It's going to be the similar thing right here. Now, I'm not necessarily going to go into the specifics of exactly what's going to happen episode by episode and chapter by chapter, but I do want to talk about some of the bigger things that we do see in the upcoming episodes of the Boruto anime. Now the big episode is going to be episode 187. The title of episode 187 is called Karma. Specifically, that's going to be adapting chapter 23. Boruto utilizes his Karma seal, and I'm not just talking about the small Karma seal like the pseudo Karma seal that we see in Boruto use versus Mujino Gang. I'm talking about the full-blown Karma seal actually absorbs chakra. A whole bunch of stuff like that, crazy. And also we get to see Kawaki as well. This is going to be the first time that we do see Kawaki in the Boruto anime, or potentially the first time that we do see Kawaki in the Boruto anime. There's definitely a possibility that we see Kawaki even before that, but in this particular episode right here, it is going to be confirmed Kawaki is definitely going to be in this episode right here. Now I do want to make a caveat, man, because I don't necessarily want to put Boruto writers and Boruto episodes in the confirmed case until we actually get to see it, or until we actually get to see specific spoilers about that from Organic Dinosaur or something like that. I'm just going to give it a 95% chance that we're most likely going to get to see Kawaki in this episode right here. Now Kawaki isn't necessarily going to be up and walking around. Kawaki was completely passed out. Boruto and the rest of Team 7 found him completely passed out. Now not only that, we also see Kashin Koji fight against Team 7 in this chapter right here. That's pretty much the reason why Boruto's Karma seal actually activated, or it might be because Kawaki's Karma seal activated at the same time. We have absolutely no idea, but regardless, what we have to understand is that episode 187 is going to be a very big episode, potentially even series altering episode. Now in terms of actual entertainment, I'm not necessarily going to say it's up there with episode 65 or when Team 7 was fighting against Deep or anything like that. That being said, I believe this episode is definitely going to be a very interesting episode. Of course, it's going to have a lot of entertainment because they're going to be fighting against Kashin Koji, a character that a lot of people like, but it's going to be possibly the most impactful episode of the Boruto series thus far, just because the wait for Kawaki has been literally, up until this episode, if this is when he actually does show up for the first time, literally 187 episodes, 187 weeks, potentially even more than that. Kawaki was introduced in episode 1, and ever since, people have been literally clamoring for Kawaki, and now we finally get to see Kawaki. The pacing of the Boruto manga being adapted to the Boruto anime is a little bit alarming. I'm not necessarily too concerned about the entertainment and the substance factor of the actual episodes that are being adapted into the Boruto anime. I believe that the Boruto anime is going to do a very good job. In terms of the pacing though, I believe it's going to put the Boruto manga in a very difficult position. If you guys do recall, one of the biggest problems with the Boruto series at the start is that it was starting at the same time. Of course, the Boruto manga started a little bit earlier than the Boruto anime, but regardless, it started kind of in the same exact vicinity, and because the Boruto manga was a monthly manga, they had to put it in a lot of anime-only arcs so the Boruto manga can create some sort of distance. If the Boruto anime is adapting the Boruto chapters, literally a chapter per week or sometimes even 2 chapters per week, as we do see in episode 186, it's going to be a very big problem if the Boruto anime gets a little bit too close to the Boruto manga, to where the Boruto anime now has to stick in a lot of quote-unquote filler arcs into the Boruto anime. One of the things that definitely has me hopeful is the fact that the Boruto manga itself has tiny built-in time skips. One of the problems with the Boruto manga as of right now, and of course it's going to be a little bit of a spoiler for the Boruto anime only readers as of right now, in the Boruto manga, Kawaki and Boruto, they talk a lot about being quote-unquote brothers. In the Boruto manga, it doesn't necessarily seem like it took them that long to build up that chemistry. So for example, after this arc right here, the Boruto anime writers, they're going to have a lot of anime-only episodes to where Boruto and Kawaki are just going to be building that relationship and building that camaraderie of actually feeling like they're brothers. And of course, when the Boruto anime gets to a time where they are going to be adapting chapter 54, it's not going to seem so weird when they are calling each other quote-unquote brothers. So that right there definitely does give me a glimmer of hope. I just really hope that those episodes right there are going to be actually good episodes. Now, specifically, some of the things that I definitely want to see in episode 187, the episode that we are all talking about, is of course going to be Kashin Koji fighting against Team 7. I want to see how the Boruto anime writers actually deal with the mystique of Kashin Koji, and if they're actually able to keep that intact in the actual battle. And not only that, it's going to be super cool seeing Kashin Koji using a lot of familiar moves against Boruto and the rest of Team 7. Now, of course, the Genins and Chunins of Team 7, they're not necessarily going to pick up on 100% of the jutsus that Kashin Koji actually does do, but Konohamaru, on the other hand, he's definitely going to see a lot of similarities between this character and a character that he knows very well. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. As I said, 95% sure, I'm 95% sure we're going to actually get to see Kawaki in episode 187. This might not be the first time that we get to see Kawaki, but this is going to be the most likely of times that we do actually get to see Kawaki. And not only that, Boruto actually does utilize his karma stone and the personal favorite of mine, Kashin Koji. Let me know what you guys think. It's me, your boy Baara B, and here we out.
It's a knife.